Well, howdy, folks. DaveMan here again, Rollman Revolution. You know, I get these weird ideas for videos every once in a while. I'm sitting at work or whatnot and write my idea right on the front cover of a food box. So, I guess we'll go into that for a little bit today and talk to you a little bit about what this video is. My vision for America. Like if I had an opportunity to sit down with the right people and say, this is what my vision for America would be, without all the bullshit, without all the lawyers, if I could just dream up a world that would be fair, that would be listening to the needs of what everybody kind of has, but within reason, of course, because the human being has a way of taking what is just fine and amplifying it to something that makes absolutely zero sense, blowing it off the chain, taking it in every direction you possibly could imagine. No, I think the main reason America is so screwed up is because of the level of lying that has gone on since my father was a baby and his father was a baby. And we go back a very, very long time. Tucker Carlson just had a show where he interviewed Sean Ryan. And Sean Ryan's an interesting character because he used to work for the CIA and he's, wide open about it. But there are many key things that he says on his show. Okay? And a lot of what he does, I myself kind of do all the time. I'm kind of always screening and seeing what's kind of going on around me. I'm seeing who is, what's out of place, and I think everybody for the most part has gotten in, those kind of conversations where somebody tries to slip something into the conversation and you realize, well, wait, that doesn't really belong in the conversation. But anyway, I'm trailing off. But Sean Ryan had an interview with Tucker Carlson and he made this point. He goes, I think that everything is a lie. And you know what? The more and more I dig into history and into academia, into what we have been told is the truth about something, regardless of the topic. Just about every topic I've kind of gone down the rabbit hole of now, I'm starting to discover that there are piles and piles of bullshit that protect and are specifically out there to confuse the masses. So everybody's on an entirely different page about certain things. And on other issues, they make it very well known that they're trying to force that propaganda into the collective's mind so that if anybody dare try to argue a point on that specific topic, people will be laughed out of the conversation. Say, look, everybody else around here believes it's this way. Why is it that you think that you have the know-it-all? And that's usually how this goes, especially within academia, especially within religion, especially if anybody tries to offer something different than what the norm says is true, you get a lot of resistance because people don't like change. But America, the country where we're supposed to have this melting pot, everybody has an opportunity here. All of the, the good time is coming to you, the American dream. All of the things that we have been taught, the things I was raised on, and I'm sure the things that your parents were raised on. And if you look back in history, you can see where the con actually begins. But again, people were a lot more trusting back then. Today I would ask you that if you were to go up to just any dignitary, any political person, any person who works at the FBI, more than likely most people don't trust those people anymore. Whereas before, people in uniform, people of authority, people who had a title, people respected. Almost you were forced to respect it. Hey, when you were a kid, hey, the teacher's walking in the room, the priest is walking in the room, you stand up. It was always that at attention that you had to be attentive to these people in particular. But as you get older, you start to discover that a lot of the people that you were supposed to respect and give respect to and were assholes, were bad people. And I'm coming to a point in my life, and as you get older, you start to realize these things, that respect is earned, trust is gained. Integrity is something that you either have or you do not. There's all of these things that we grow up being forced to respect the person when walking around. I think these are part of manners, a part of virtue, a part of who we are as a people, how we identify as a people. But America has gotten into this world of complete woke bullshit. It's pulled in so many different directions. And it goes into every part, into every topic. Even the topics you think are so personal to you and you know them all, I can guarantee you there are layers interwoven into the topics and the things that you love that are just complete bullshit. Because the more and more you start to research the stuff that we've been taught, we've been told, that we have been explained to by the professionals, a lot of it is based in theory and bullshit. And when you start to break apart those protective layers that shield whatever this hidden knowledge is from what we have been told, you start to realize that the whole story looks completely and totally embellished. And my vision for America is where we don't have that, where we don't lie to each other, where integrity means something. Look, this game that we're playing, this hallucination, whatever you want to call it, you plopped into this world, I plopped into this world, this is the figurine that I got, you got yours, you're walking around in your little avatar, and we're all trying to play the game based upon the rules that were set up before we got here. Now, everybody tells you that the people before us were primitive and stupid and they couldn't do anything, and it's all of us. We are the ones that came up with all the smart stuff. That's why, the population started growing, because energy. We have energy now, we have electricity, and we did this. When you start to look behind the history, you start to realize that it doesn't add up. None of it does. So if that's all bullshit, then a lot of what we're seeing today is bullshit. I mean, I'm very much on that road now, that most of what we have been told about our history, about science, about mathematics, about all of it, there may be some truths within it, and a lot of it does work, but I'm saying where it goes and where it could go and what the real knowledge behind all of this. There's so many layers of bullshit packed on top of it, and it's like, wow. We want to make this life better, but you have not the smartest people leading us. Not the smartest people Look, I've said this before. If everybody got a shot at whatever it is that they want to do, you may find some undiscovered talent someplace that never had the opportunity because, again, it's looked at on this small laundry list. If you don't have this or this or this or this or this check mark or that check mark, America has become this big, huge shopping list. You have to do these things, or you have to accomplish these things, or you got to have this credential shit on the wall in order for you to be considered, a learned anything, have access to anything. You got to be part of this club before you can get into the club. But you got to have all these check marks first. Oh, he did that, and he was part of this school, and he went to an Ivy League college. Oh, great there. He was part of the Young Republicans Club. Oh, he worked on a lobbying firm. Oh, he may know what's going on. That's what I'm saying. These people, for the longest time, the leadership we've had in this country and the major arms of the stranglehold that has been on this country has all been created by liars or people that probably were way underqualified. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of these people are smart, but are they the best? Probably not. And if I had to take a guess, many of them were just plain out stupid. But yet, here we go. Here we are in America, where everybody has the right under the Constitution to be a frickin' moron. You have that right. But what I'm saying is, why are we fighting amongst ourselves? Why are we not sharing all of the information? Because we've been taught our entire life, and I had too, that if you don't get yours, somebody else is going to get it. If you don't pave the way, Dave, and set your course and don't let anybody get off that, and anybody tries to take you off, you knock them off because it's your course. You got to get to the top. You got to be the number one, the big cat, the big fish, the vanguard of the world, right? But it doesn't mean anything. Those things are meaningless, but we have put so much emphasis. We have a world, a country that puts so much emphasis on things rather than people, on process rather than understanding what we're actually dealing with. The human aspect is getting further and further ripped out compassion gone. Belief, even a conversation about belief. We're so afraid to have the conversations about the things we really don't know about things. And if you question any of those things, people call you heretic. They call you, anti this or anti that. And it's like, can we just get away from the labels for once and start meeting everybody where they are? And start to say, look, I have information that you may not have, and you may have information that I may not have. But we don't do that. Because you know why? There are these small groups of people that sit on the top and keep playing this chess game against you and me. And until we wake up, you keep fighting. I keep going to these protests. I keep going to all of the stuff that is supposed to be anti-Trump this and anti-Republican or this. Stop with the groups first off. Stop with the groups. That's where the problem has always been. If you want a better America, if you want a healthy America, if you want a smart America, if you want America, you got to stop the lying. You got to stop feeding people bullshit. And then you got to open the dialogue. It amuses me to no end when you go to an anti-Trump protest and you try to bring a camera to talk to these people. And there are many people on YouTube that are doing this right now. You go to these things and they don't want to talk to you. They see you as an enemy and you can't talk to the enemy. But most of the time, they're just asking you if you know what you believe. And that's the weirdest part about some of what we have going on in America today. People are dying and jumping on the sword for shit that they don't even understand. They're talking about it at these protests. Trump is a fascist. Trump is a this. Oh, trans this. They don't even know the full scale of what it is they're saying. Please articulate. Please articulate. Tell me what you're... So that we can have a dialogue, so we can go back and forth. Never happens. But they want you just to believe what they believe, say what they say, and don't question it. That's the new Democrat Party. The Republican Party is this party of all over the goddamn place. You gotta kiss this guy's ass and rub that one's shoulder and then slap that one on the keister. It's a game that they're all playing. They're all kind of doing a circle jerk with each other in the Republican Party right now, and everybody's got to try to get on the same page in order for them to get anything achieved. Where the Democrats, they're all in the same camp no matter what. They're all crazies, at least the ones that they have in office right now. The Democrat Party has completely lost their way, which has destroyed the country for the most part over the past 3 decades. But you can see this managed decline that's been going on in this country for a very, very long time. So the dream that I have, if I could imagine any other, is to get rid of majority of the shit that's running this. The problem with leadership is when it gets too large, when any company, organization, government gets to the size that this one is, it's completely impossible to manage. Because you have all of these people that are supposed to be working for the one man, the President of the United States, within their... Everybody's got their own damn agenda there. People are paid off to look the other way. People are taking money from the CCP or this lobbying group or this group or that law firm. They're all taking money from different people, all promising different things, but in the end, they're lining their own goddamn pockets. They're not taking care of the people that they swore an oath to take care of and to represent, which is the reason why the country's all over the damn place and everybody's yelling at everybody. But believe it or not, this is the weird part. You're yelling at me and I'm yelling at you. When you go to these protests, they're yelling at me when I'm not even the one that has done anything to make this shit the way that it is. It's the leadership that you've had. Now, granted, you may say that it's the Republicans and the other side may say that it's the Democrats. And I say that you're both full of shit because you don't know what you're talking about, because if you use those terms still, you're so late to the game now. Those things mean nothing. It's what people do that matter. And Congress, for many, many decades, and I've been watching this for a very long time, my friends, hasn't done anything to make this country better. I have watched over the course since 1991, 92, where I really started watching this stuff, getting involved in it, listening to the radio. I have watched a country go from something that was manageable to something that went ridiculous, and then one more ridiculous, confusing, stupid, idiotic, uncommon sensed topic would get thrown in a little at a time. It's like that's what you do to a subverting country. You just insert this little seed into the society, and then you force it, and then you force it, and then and then it grows and it matures. But before you know it, you have a population of people arguing to the death on top of a sword, willing to die on the sword for an issue they know next to nothing about. They know what they have been told. They know what they have listened to, but they themselves don't understand the issue backwards and forwards to make a proper assessment about really what they're talking about. Most of the time, the nomenclature, the words being used, are all different depending upon who you're talking to. The language that we use today, we all need to be, like when you say the word Republican, what does that mean? When you say the word Democrat, what does that mean? When you say the word MAGA, what does that mean? These are all labels, and they're all in this ether. And depending upon which uneducated, ignorant person is making the assessment, you could get a million different definitions for the three words I just gave you. And that's the problem. The labels have always been the problem. When you start to slap more labels on everybody, he's not just Dave, he's short, white, brown-eyed, fair-skinned, balding Dave. Now you got 15 adjectives. And the problem with it is you just narrowed everything down even further and further and further. So that makes me more and more and more refined, which means I become so different than everything else. And that's the problem. The more labels we slap on, the more divisions you make, nobody's going to agree. The problem with it is it's a game being played against the American people, and they're just, majority of the people are starting to wake up, but there are still a large amount of people every single day because they're watching mainstream and they're repeating this shit on their Twitters, on their Facebooks. I'm seeing it and listening to it in conversations when I'm walking on the beach, and people are just talking nonsense. They don't know what they're talking about, but they believe they do. How do you remedy that? It starts with people not lying, but you have to have integrity. You have to have people at the top that hold that. You have to make sure that the justice system, the FBI, the DOJ, actually go after people in positions of power who broke the frickin' law. I know, it's so ridiculous. Yeah, like people like Hillary Clinton, James Comey. James Comey didn't go after Hillary Clinton saying, yeah, even though it was illegal and everything that she did was wrong and everything that she did would land any other normal American's ass in jail for 20 plus years, but because she's Hillary Clinton and, it's just, whoops. Joe Biden. Yeah, he's just too damn old. He's done all that stuff in the past. He screwed the American people over. He gave our secrets away. He sold, God only knows, right? It's okay, though. He's too old. He's too decrepit. That's the thing. These people just run the shot clock out. They break the law, make you follow it. They write the laws. Think about this. These son of a bitches write the laws that you have to follow, the taxes that you have to pay. They spend the money that you hard earn. And then they break the law. The system is gained so that they can get cash in their pockets, sell you out, sell the rest of the country out. Why? And they're all doing it. They're all doing it. Maybe some more than others, but they're all got their hands in the cookie jar. The only way that stops is we make it stop. We make it stop. You want a better America? The only way that happens is you got to stop the lying. The lying stops from the top down. If your mom's lying to you all day long, it's going to make you into a liar. If you're around a group of people that lie, and that's what they do to be successful in the world, you're going to develop that skill, and lying's going to be your forte, right? That's the problem. We promote and we don't enforce or go after bad behavior in this country. We watch the most elitist of people in the world break the law right in front of us. We have elections that just completely get stolen. You have spikes that happen at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then everybody's walking around saying, I'm the idiot for saying that doesn't make any sense. You lock up people in jail that say, yeah, we want to just look at the count. No, you can't. You can't do that. I mean, what have we done in this country? Oh, we really have lost our mind to the point where no, illegals can vote in our elections, New York. That's what New York's, yeah, illegal people who don't live here, who don't pay taxes, can vote in our elections. I mean, is that not the most mad thing that you ever heard in your life? But no, that's really going on, okay? You got so much crazy going on, and everybody thinks that somebody else is going to have to fix it. The reason it's gotten to the way that it is everybody's thinking somebody else is going to do it. The way it stops is you do it. You deal with it. You get involved in your city, your local area. And if you don't like what's going on there, you bring and you make the people that are doing it famous. You expose them to the world. You show them to the neighbors. You let them know the garbage that we have leading them. So that when the vote comes and these people think that they can get in because they've always gotten in and they got enough money from their super PAC and their PAC and this PAC and that PAC, you show them who's boss for the first time. America is only going to get back if the people who live here really feel good about the nation they're living in again. And the only way you're going to feel good about the nation you're living in again is if you take a goddamn hold of it and drive it in the direction you want. Look, I've been preaching garbage and talking smack and yelling at people and yelling at a screen and yelling at a camera for too many damn years, okay? There's always been a goal behind all of this, but I am just tired of just the bullshit that people say to me every single day, the nonsense that they've been taught over the years that, oh, the reason why I'm fat is because of genetics and all of this other shit. No, it's because of what you're eating and the input is not equaling the output. That's the reality. But we don't want to live in reality anymore. We don't want to live in the fact that we can't have this one magic pill that just makes it all go away. That's what everybody wants, is the one magic pill that just takes all the problems and makes them go away. No. The way you want something to change is you have to force it. You have to tell the universe, this is the direction I want. And then you move it in that direction. It's an all around, they always say, you're helpless unless you work with other people. Well, yeah. We came into the world with limited gifts. We came into the world. Some people are tall, some people are short, some people can speak well, some people cannot. Some people are very smart, and there are people in this world that are just dumb. That's saying that they're less of a person. They're just some people that don't know, but they can kick your ass in a fight. Or they could run faster than you are, or they could, climb a mountain better. They have skills in other areas. We all do. We're all very limited in some areas and excel in others. But the only way that this whole system works is that we stop looking at this is mine, that's mine, this is mine, that's mine, this is yours, that's mine. We all are on this mind. We all caught up in this thing that doesn't really exist. You don't take any of this thing with you when you leave. Okay? So what makes you think that you have any ownership of it while you're here? There's a trick being played. It's being played on everybody. But the biggest trick of all is they got you believing I'm the enemy and I believe that you're the enemy. They lied to you about your history. They lied to you about where you came from. And as you know, on this channel, I have always said, your history is your identity. If you can't remember where you came from, how in the hell do you know where you are now and where you're going? That's why when I came into this world memory wiped and I was told these are my two parents and this is all this is and this is the religion you should go to and this is the house you should live in and this is the status you should have. You're a white, middle-aged white guy. You're given all these labels and all these damn things have been stamped on you. The problem with it is none of them are true. It's all made by this silly thing that everybody's falling for. And it's unnecessary. We are better than this, so much better than this. But the only way we make it better is we have to apply action, magic into the world and force it into the direction we want. Everybody thinks that this just happens naturally and it doesn't really matter. Oh, it can get inherently worse here. If you let those with the magic wand shake it in the direction you don't want, especially if you don't do anything about it, it's going to get a lot worse. And this doesn't even require a lot of effort by everybody. It just requires everybody to push in one direction and stop fighting amongst each other. We're the ones all suffering at the bottom and we're fighting over these stupid minuscule issues that never go nowhere and never really change anything. But as long as we're fighting, we're losing the battle up there because they're stealing your treasure. They're stealing your country. They're making laws that you and I have to abide, and they're increasing taxes, which you and I must have to pay. So until you get leadership around Trump is doing everything for America. He's the first president in my entire lifetime that's actually doing something. Everybody who's been watching this channel knows that, and knows exactly what I mean when I say it. Do I agree with him on how he presents and how he says everything? Of course not. I can't, but he's his own man. I'm not asking anybody to marry Trump. But what Trump has done for America, his track record says everything. And that's what you want in a president. Plain and simple. That's what you want. A person who's looking out for you, who understands what all is going on here, understands how the geopolitical world works, and then knows how to talk to people. Diplomacy. So funny how Democrats lost it with diplomacy. Oh, it's about diplomacy. We shouldn't have war. Now the Democrats want to go to war more than anybody. They're worried about flaring up wars everywhere. How did that happen? It's because when you understand who these people work for, where their money is coming from, how they get all those campaign contributions and destroy, and why AOC keeps getting a repeat in Congress when she's a blaming idiot, right? New York, she's an idiot. And you put an idiot in charge. Until you get the idiots out, you're not going to get the representation you want. You're not going to get the common sense approach to your life that's actually going to help your life until you get shit like that out of office. It's common sense stuff. You would not hire people like this for your business, but we elect them to make the decisions for the way our country is defended, the way our country spends its money. You wouldn't do anything with these people, and these people probably couldn't. A lot of them wouldn't be able to get jobs outside of what they're doing. We're better than this. And I dream of America where we're not lying to each other. I dream of America where everybody can go and live the life that they want to. And it's easy here because we have everything provided here. Everything's not expensive. It doesn't cost $25,000 to go get dental work done. It doesn't cost, an arm and a leg if you get cancer or you come down with some weird disease. But there I say again, remember I said at the top of this, Sean Ryan, we've been lied to about everything. The medical industry, in my opinion, most of it, not all of it, but most of it, it's all bullshit. They keep putting things in. Doctors are trained today to react to things, not to prevent things, not to study the root cause of where these things go. No, their job is to figure out what's going on, provide the proper medication, which comes from the pharmaceutical industries who teach them at the education, at all of the universities, all that other stuff, and then form a therapy that's going to fix temporarily or cover up a problem that you currently got going on. Blood pressure, kidney issues, that issue. So they wait for, not trying to figure out why you're getting the kidney stones to begin with, but we're just going to give you this and this and this, and then maybe, rattle it with some sonic waves and then break it up. That's what we do. We develop these devices, put x-rays on human, do all of these things, okay? And I just don't think that that's the way medicine was. And I really, when you look at some of the old world structures that are still standing, like St. Peter's Cathedral, and many of the castles over in Europe, many of the buildings here in the United States, and then you say that the people before us were primitive, but yet they could build that shit. Well, I bet their medicine system was a whole lot better too. If they could build a structure like that with no people, according to the way history tells us, there was nobody here when these things were built. They were built in a couple years, according to the way the Wikipedia and all of the other friggin' books tell you. But then you ask yourself the question, well, how did they get the shit there? How did they build it? How did they do this without power tools? And then you start scratching your head and they say, you know what? These people probably weren't primitive. They probably were much more advanced. And then we just came across these buildings and says, how are we going to explain this shit story to the pop? That's probably what happened. But there I digress. I keep saying that there's so much more that we could do, you and I could do. And if we started being honest about everything and really started sharing what we all really know, the experiences that we have, stop covering it up like everything's a big freaking secret in this world that I can't tell you, because if I tell you, then you'll know something and then I won't be in the know by myself. It's like everybody wants to hold on to this thing. But it's like, do you understand that the only way for anything to advance, to get better, is to join and grow, join and grow, join and grow. We're a melting pot of different talents, treasures, all this stuff. But everybody's hoarding it because that's what we've been told. That's the system that's been set up. If you don't get yours, somebody else is. If you don't take what's yours, somebody else is going to take what you take. It's a system that's barbaric, We have a medical system, in my opinion, that's barbaric. Like, we cut people open, we take this out. It's like, why don't we try to figure out why these things are happening? Why? Maybe there's a better way to do this. Maybe we call it, they call it quack science and all that. Why don't we try it? Maybe it just might work. Maybe cathedrals with the pipe organs and all of their magic were actually healing centers at one point. And it was through the vibration you don't know, and we will never know, because they will always tell you that you have to do it this way. Back in the old days, things were primitive. Everybody in the past were a bunch of dumb hillbillies. But today we know it. We know it all, everybody. Thank goodness we're living now, because this is when all the intelligence just kind of, all the inventions came out. Everything just flopped into existence all at once. And thank goodness it was for, America and some of the people of Europe and some of these great minds and all this other stuff. And they got together and they just did it all. And if you believe those stories, I got some beachfront property in, California I can sell you too. There has to be a point where we, as just human beings, start to expect better for ourselves. I think everybody out there will agree that suffering is not something that they want to go on in their life, and they don't want to inflict suffering on other people. So why is it that we keep fighting with each other? We're never going to heal until we start talking. And like I said, when I go to these protests, or I try to talk to somebody now today who is in opposition, if I have a MAGA hat on, or if I have a shirt that says I'm pro this or pro, people just shut down. They don't have conversation. You're an enemy. And you can't talk to the enemy because, again, we've been trained not to. The nomenclature that we're all using is entirely junged up on purpose. We've completely messed up the language, the borders, the culture by manipulating it. And by destroying all those things, the identity that we once were has completely erased. Much like when you keep re-entering this hellhole every single time. Boom, babies are being born all the time. They come in here, they're reliant on the people that came before him to teach them. So if the people before them were dumb, stupid idiots that were taught dumb, stupid bullshit, even if they didn't know, they're passing on the same dumb, stupid bullshit to the next generation. That's why lying kills things. It destroys people. And it's the reasons why, if we don't wake up to that fact real soon, it ain't gonna matter, because eventually, the wrong lie said the wrong way at the wrong time can take it all down. That's how much power and how easy it is to destroy things. It's so much harder to build them up. It's so easy to insert garbage, and it just festers everything else away. We have got to be better than that. And the only way we're going to do that is if we stop lying to each other. We start embracing what the other person does know and doesn't know, and we got to learn to start talking to each other again. We got to start putting labels and lines in the sand all the time. I'm saying there is reasons for it today, because the crazy has gone off the friggin' rails to the point where I don't even recognize much of what the people are talking about anymore, especially in this new woke movement. Whatever their conversations are, absolutely have no basis in reality. And I don't have time to waste with stupidity. Plain and simple. I just don't argue with stupidity, because I have to lower myself down to that stupid nature. If you're going to talk stupid, based in nothing but your own belief system that you made up, well, then we can't have a conversation, because we'll be here all day. You're just going to live in your fantasy land, and eventually you're going to die there by yourself. And I mean that in the nicest way. I'm just saying that when you live in a woke BS world that nobody else can relate to but you, and you force that world upon the entire people around you and the world as itself, you will alienate yourself in the end, because people cannot go to where you are. We're in this space. It's crazy and confusing and annoying and suffering enough. We don't need to add any more bullshit or any more stupidity to the mix. So as far as that's concerned, let it go. If you want to have a conversation about truth, you got to start talking in truth. You have to start talking in what we know and not what we believe to be true, what we know to be true. And that's how you have in America that you can believe in. But it starts with the lying. It starts with honesty. And until you build the virtues up, what we are, what you believe, what defines you. Like what defines what a good man is. You used to say, what's a good woman? We don't even know what that is anymore because we can't even define what woman is anymore, right? They feel completely destroyed up. So the things that we should be focusing on, to make each individual better, we can't even do that anymore because we have completely floodgated the entire world with bullshit. So until we get the shit all cleaned up, we got a long road back. But it's a fight worth having, and it's a fight we must have because it can get a whole lot worse if we don't. I truly hope to see you on that battlefield. Every voice is needed, every small move that you can make to make your life and the lives of the people around you better, do it. If we all did it, the movement would happen so fast. The benefits would happen overnight. We got to stop believing that this power structure is who we are. You are who you are, and the way you take control of your life is to get involved. You can't sit on the couch and expect it to happen. You got to go out and try. As long as you fight, as long as you keep moving, you will not die. Keep moving. I hope to see you out there, my friends. Take care. Peace as always.